welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you guys are new. For today's video, I'm going to be doing a video all about accounting and taxes for freelancers. This is specifically going to be for makeup artists, but any freelancers that own their own business can honestly do this as well. It's very, very important to keep track of your own expenses, just because unlike a normal 9-to-5 job, you won't be getting state, federal, and county taxes taken out at all per week. So you basically will have to owe all this money at the very end of the year. So you want to make sure you really do good accounting. I know this video is a little bit late for this year, but hopefully it helps you guys out when you go into next year for your accounting in January. I also want to put a disclaimer out there that I am not a licensed CPA. I do actually have a full 9-to-5 job, so I do actually operate professional software for accounting like Quickbooks. So I do know how to do accounting softwares, but for right now in my own business, I'm just doing Excel because I don't have time or money to do like a huge accounting software system. Also, if you guys want a video of how I track my customer jobs and everything too, I do have a whole entire application set up in OneNote and Microsoft Office, so I can definitely give a whole entire tutorial over that as well. Also, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be screen recording on my laptop, so the audio isn't super great. So sorry about that, but just bear with me. I just want to let you guys know that before I start, and let's get on to it. So I am in Excel right now. Again, I'm just doing Excel for now because I feel like I don't have a big enough business to actually spend money on an accounting software like QuickBooks, but eventually I do want to get there with my business. I am going to go ahead and open my expense reports. This is calculating my expenses from 2019 to 2020. Again, as I've mentioned before, I've only had my freelancing business for a couple of years, so this is just going to be for these 2 years. I think I'm just going to be showing you how I tracked my expenses for last year because I'm not quite finished with this year yet, obviously. Before I start off on this, I just want to let you know that this is not a tutorial for Microsoft Excel or anything. I'm just going to be automatically assuming that you guys know how to kind of work Microsoft Excel and just kind of how the features and everything work. I'm just going to be showing you how I set up my expenses and how it's easiest for me. Again, this isn't something that's a definite thing that you have to follow, but this has just been the easiest way for me to set this up. I made a whole bunch of tabs down here, so as you can tell, this is 2019 and then this is 2020. So I have different tabs here. So I have purchases 2019, income 2019, and mileage 2019. Okay, so starting off in the first tab, I just put this as expense tracker 2019. So I have the column that says expense date, merchant name, amount, and description. I feel like they're all pretty self-explanatory, but the expense date is basically when I purchased it, so I just tracked all that. The merchant name is the store or the place where you got the items. And then your amount is obviously how much you spent on them. And then your description is not necessarily for your accountant. I just like to put a description of what I actually spent my money on because at the very end of the year, I kind of like to know personally what I spent the most on throughout the year, if that makes sense. The majority of the time, it's foundations and eyelashes because, come on, like I has so many foundations all the time, and lashes you just have to stock up on a lot. So I just make a quick description of what I spent my money on for that purchase, and I just ordered them in the date that I purchased them all the way until December. And then at the very bottom, I just did total expenses for 2019, and then I ended up totaling everything up. So you just definitely want to make sure that you total all this. And then just a quick explanation in case you guys don't know how to do Excel. If you just click a blank cell at the bottom, then you can basically just click your sum button right here. And then you can highlight whatever numbers that you want to make a total of, and then it says all the column numbers right here, and then just press enter on your keyboard, and then it'll make a total of that column. So you don't necessarily have to like go up and like individually add these, but again, if you guys already know how to work Excel, it'll pretty much be a self-explanatory thing for you guys. But I just wanted to give you like a really quick tutorial over how you actually do sum up totals if you need to. And the next tab is the income 2019. So this is where I tracked all of what I made throughout the year. I probably will be censoring out the client names and then also the amounts that I made as well. So this will probably all be censored out. I just wanted to do it for privacy reasons. Obviously, we don't need to be talking about how much everybody makes on here. First off, this is the first column I made. Date received, which is, basically when I did the job. Client name, pretty self-explanatory. It's the name of the client who I did the makeup on. The amount, so this is the amount of how much they paid me. And then I have a whole separate column for process fee because I take payments through PayPal, and I also take payments through Square as well, which is one of those little card readers that you can plug into the charging port of your phone. But each one of those takes process fees from me, so you want to make sure that you keep track of what process fees you've been charged for on your end, because realistically, you're not pocketing the entire amount that that customer paid you. You're basically taking what they paid you, subtracting the process fee, and then you have a total of what they paid you afterwards. So that's the amount that you're actually making, not the amount that they originally paid you, if that makes sense. So just make sure that you keep track of that. Of course, you want to make sure that you keep track of your tips. So this entire column basically just keeps track if they paid me a tip or not, and then what it was. And then this is the payment method. Again, this isn't super important, but it kind of just helps me personally keep track of how they paid me and then what the most used method of payment is. And this is just the total amount. So this is after all the process fees and the tips and everything. And then this is basically how much I'm pocketing. Again, I'm going to bleep these out so you guys won't be able to see any of this. But basically, this whole column is how much they paid me. And then these lines right here, as you can see, are separating the months. So then, like this is February, this is March, this is all of April. And then I use these lines to give you a sum. I summed up this completely so I can tell how much I made for each month. And that way I can keep track of which months that I have the most income on. And I said total for income 2019. And then basically I just use all the sums from the columns that I total up for each of the months. And then I put that sum right here. So then that basically gave me an overall total of what I made through the whole entire year. Okay, so then the next tab that I made is for mileage. So this is pretty easy to follow as well, but I basically put the date. So this is the date of when I traveled, the client name. So that's kind of not important really, but I just kind of like to keep track of who it was and then how many miles I had to travel to them. And then mileage is how many miles I traveled. Now, I want you to note that this is actually the mileage that I traveled round trip. You do have to travel there, and you also have to travel back home too, or wherever you're going for your next job. So you just want to make sure that you track your mileage there and back, or wherever you're going. Then on the very last column, I have total mileage for 2019, and then I added up the sum of all of these and put the total mileage that I had right here. Oh, and then something I wanted to note here, I'll go to 2020 because I did not do it on 2019 because I was not aware of this, but my accountant told me this, which is really important. So this is basically if you do this part-time and it's not your full-time job. If it's your full-time job, obviously you'll keep track of your gas receipts and any car repairs and everything, and you'll have that as a total expense toward your business. But since I don't work full-time on my freelancing career, I drive my car other places. I have a full 40-hour-a-week job, so I take my car there as well. I don't use it just solely for my business. So I have to calculate a percentage and then claim that on my expenses. So what you want to do if you work part-time on your freelancing job and you don't do it full-time is you want to have your starting odometer reading right here, and then at the very end of this year I'll have my ending odometer reading, and then I'll just put this at whatever my odometer says at the very end of the year. So December 31st, I'll put it right there. So then after that, you basically want to do like a top over bottom division thing, you know, so like, you know, 108,192 divided by whatever I have here, and that'll make a percentage. So say I maybe came out with a percentage of like 20% or something. Then what you can do is you can track your income. So like these are my purchases here. So for instance, this year I had to replace all 4 tires in my car. So that was a really hefty expense there. And then you can basically take the amount that you spent on car repairs or gas and take 20% of that, and then you can claim that on your expenses. So that's kind of how your expenses work for your car and everything when you don't work at your freelancing career full-time. I hope I explained that well enough. I'm really not good at explaining like math and accounting to people because that's not usually how my mind operates. Again, I'm sorry that I had to censor out most of the information, the numbers on here, but I'm just not comfortable sharing that online, obviously, because obviously, you know, what we make is pretty sensitive. Okay, everyone, that is the end of this video. I hope this really helped you guys out. Again, if you guys have any questions for me, definitely leave those in the comments down below. If they are more extensive, then I definitely can make a whole entire FAQs video if you guys would like, just involving like my personal life or YouTube or freelancing or whatever you guys want to know. I can definitely do that as well. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell, and that will notify you of every single video I upload. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. All right, bye.